limited series podcast on marketing tips for startup dental practices. And we're going to go definitely deeper than marketing, right? We talk about leadership vision, how to build that culture and build that brand that patients want to refer so that you get the most out of these marketing dollars when you're ramping up your dental practice. But today we're going to talk about the 3 different types of practices that you can have. And I know you probably know this in the back of your head. I'm just going to put some labels to it and really dig in a little bit to it. This will be a little bit of a shorter episode, basically because I just want to go through these 3 and not put too much around it. I want you to really think about the type of practice you want to be. I had mentioned earlier about, how you build this out and attract, right? The butterfly examples, getting yellow butterflies by growing a garden versus just grabbing a butterfly net and going and chasing down and getting as many butterflies as you can. So the cool thing about dentistry, why I like working in dentistry, is because dentists have something unique that other people really can't do. Very few people get this opportunity. They can hit all 3 levels of the consumer relationship. Level 1 is this transactional relationship, right? Where you come in, get something from me, I give it to you, you leave, and we transact it, right? The second one is you come in, we get to know each other, we build a relationship, you trust me, and I become your provider, and we have a relationship. But the third, and this is what a lot of people don't get to, is that transformational experience, right? Where someone can come in, and this could be someone that's just not been able to eat right for 25 years. And finally, you've helped them do that. Or it could be someone that didn't have the confidence to smile and you built them a great smile. So you can provide that transformational experience too. So all of that is incredible. I think it's a wonderful thing that dentists get to do that a lot of us don't. And then the different types of practices that you can have kind of relate to that. So you can have a transactional practice. And this is the advantage of doing your own practice over buying in with a DSO, partnering in with, group practices, but doing your own practice, or even maybe partnering with somebody else to do a startup or have a couple practices. But when you look at this, you could be a transactional practice, because I think that's what a lot of DSOs are. But basically, we know what this looks like, right? We're going to get as many people in the door as we can, and we're going to do as much dentistry as we can in a short amount of period of time. And having a transactional practice means you will have to spend a lot of money on marketing every month for the entire time it's a transactional practice, because you're going to have a lot of patient attrition. I was talking to a client about this one day because he wanted me to really dig deeper into that side of it. And I said, well, think about how people view getting their hair cut. Some people are perfectly fine going and paying $10 at a Supercuts because they just don't value what their hair looks like, or they think that's a good enough cut for them, and they're perfectly fine. Or maybe they're getting, hair buzzed, and what's the point of spending a ton of money on it? Some people don't mind spending. I'm a guy. If I go out and I spend $50 on a haircut, that's a lot, but maybe it's the experience. So it's really how people view that transaction as to whether or not you can kind of take them up to that relationship style. But that's the thing. Even if somebody's like, I just despise going to the dentist, right? We hear that all the time. Oh, I hate the dentist. Well, how great is it for you when you can take that person? Because they have to come to you eventually. They're going to have tooth pain. They're going to need to do something at the dentist. How great is it when you can take them from this completely negative transactional patient to building a relationship and giving them, a place they can come, people they can trust. So think about that. I mean, it is very important in a startup to know the path you're going to take people. We go through a process called the patient value journey. And we're like, how do we take them from being a transactional person to being that relationship, or creating a transformational experience? So you want to think about that. And so if you're leveling up and you want to do a relationship based practice, this is going to be more based in branding. This is more what we help startups with. And this, to me, is your advantage over the DSOs. We talk about how are we going to live in this world together? And I think this is it. You having great leadership, having a great culture where people want to work, that means you get whatever recruits you want, because your people are going to bring them in. You're just going to attract them. Great leaders are always recruiting anyway, but they're always telling their people, hey, if you've got other great people like you, please introduce me. We may not have an opportunity right now, but down the road, I want to be able to talk with them. So it's not just about building a great brand and marketing presence. That's definitely a big part of it. But you got to be a great leader. You've got to have a great team. That team has to know how to communicate. So, when we do these leadership branding workshops, that's what we're really creating for people, is this overall communication strategy that helps them build to relationship based practice. And what ends up happening, this is when because a lot of people are like, how do you, we build great relationships. We are a relationship practice. Well, here's how you can actually tell. If your referrals outnumber your patient attrition, year to year in that month, then your relationship practice, because at that point you're a referral practice. Um, you can find that in your practice management software. Dental Intel will tell you that net patient score like each month. I love that. I love to go in and look at it and say, yeah, good for you. You got 50 new patients, that a lot of those came through marketing, but you lost 45. So you only netted 5 patients, right? And so think about it. You've probably seen this, maybe even worked in practices like this, where they still spend 6, 7, 8 grand a month in marketing and haven't grown a ton. They kind of got to that 1.5, 2 million mark, and they can't go anywhere because they're just kind of churning through people. And now they're just spending all this money to maintain it, where if they'd built a great brand and concentrated on building a relationship practice, referrals are feeding them. They've maybe got that 10 to 15% attrition rate that you're going to have regardless. And you get to build organically and not spend all this money on marketing and recruiting. So, make sure to lean into that if you're building out a relationship practice. Building a relationship practice, putting people through that patient value journey, means that it's going to take a while. This doesn't happen overnight, but it's incredibly important, because month 6 is where you're going to start feeling good again. Because now all those people you saw in month 1 are now coming back, in addition to probably having more new patients than you've had. And all that starts to build. And man, that's really a great turning point for a lot of people. So I want you to concentrate on that, really lean into that. If you want a transactional practice, I get that. If you're fast and you just want to move people through, that's great. You do you. There's no problem with that. Now, for those of you that want to get to that third level, and really you're never going to be just a transformational practice where the only thing you do all day long is change people's lives. But what if the 80-20 rule applied here, right? That 20% of your people make up 80% of your revenue or your business, or maybe even just satisfaction, because you're able to give them that transformational experience. So I would start thinking about that, right? What does that look like if we can get 20% of our patients feeling great? And a lot of that will come back to your brand. Are you branded in a way that you are really, really changing the way people view themselves and helping them with their confidence? So all of these are big deals as you're thinking about what type of practice you want and truly how you're going to build it out. Back when we were talking about the blueprint, if you want this to be a spa-like experience, make it a spa-like experience, but just keep it authentic to you. I had this was one of the smarter things I saw a guy do. He very much liked board games. He collected old board games. That was kind of his thing. And he would keep them up front, and he kind of had to take a game, leave a game type thing, which was really cool. And so people kind of got into that, and that was what his brand became. And that, got him a little bit of social media buzz, and people just started kind of connecting with him that way. And I think those are the types of things that build relationships or make people trust you, because you're authentic, right? You're intentional in how you do things, but you're authentic. So all things to consider. Find that thing that makes you, lean into it. Everybody will love it. They'll be the people you want in your chair are going to love that. So be that. And then if you can have those transformational experiences, that's important too. I say all this because this is a great way to build your practice quickly. And then again, down the road, if you're looking to build out and have more practices, you get to kind of use your first practice as a lab. and see. And so again, look through all that, but go back, like I keep saying, download that workbook, make sure you've got that. And also, we'd mentioned last time about the demographics. If you haven't done that yet, jump back in there, look at the demographics in the area you want to do. On the next episode, this is a big one. Please hang in there because this is a one you're going to want to listen to. This is going to be more about handling the emotions of doing the startup, right? And how to kind of build some advisors around you that can help. So we're going to jump in to episode 7 right away. Thank you.